Hello, everybody. Welcome to Diva like Edwina. I am Anastasia, your host. Tonight, I am doing an Inner Diva segment. I am doing a follow-up to what I did before not with bipolar, but I'm doing a follow-up this time discussing ADD and ADHD. As I have mentioned in a couple of, or a few, I should say, other videos, I am bipolar 1 and I also have ADHD. I was diagnosed earlier last year with uh, bipolar 1 and ADHD after a lifetime of not really knowing what the heck was wrong with me. Um, when I did my overview for bipolar disorder, I referred to a couple of books. This time for the ADHD and ADD, I did refer to several books, most of which I checked out at my local library. Uh, Basically, I wanted to discuss what ADD and ADHD is, um, and how to cope with it, and including nutritional advice and supplement advice on how to cope with this disease. And yes, I call ADD, ADHD, bipolar, schizophrenia, any mental illness I consider a disease, because if it causes dis-ease, then it is a disease. Alright, so that being said, let me check my time so I can get started here. I don't know how many parts this is going to wind up being, because I do have a lot that I want to cover in this discussion. The first book that I read is called 10 Simple Solutions to Adult ADD, How to Overcome Chronic Distraction and Accomplish Your Goals. And this book was written by Stephanie Moulton Sarkis, PhD. And this is how the book looks. This is the first book I'm going to be referring to. And I really like this book because it is it's a short book, and since my symptoms have flared up, I have been having great difficulty with reading, and that's been a very big frustration for me, because first of all, I love to read. I'm an avid reader. And second of all, I'm a Jehovah's Witness. And us witnesses, we do a lot of Bible study, Bible research, reading different publications and whatnot in order to help ourselves have a better relationship with our God, and how to and have better relationships with others, but also to be able to go out and talk to others about how they can improve their lives. And so it's been very, very difficult for me, as an avid reader, and more importantly, as a witness, uh, not being able to focus on the reading. So, um, like I said, I really enjoyed this book because it's a short book, and the words, very simple language, and all of that. So I was able to get through the book fairly easily. And Also, I just want to make mention, even though this, the topic is ADD, ADHD, that our public editions of our Watchtower and Awaken, I'm talking as a Jehovah's Witness at this moment, starting this year, have been shortened, and the language used in it in both magazines have been simplified. And I have to say also that I really, really appreciate the new format of the magazine, because I am actually able to get through the magazine now, whereas last year I was really, really struggling to get through. So I am really appreciative of the shorter format. And I just wanted to put that out there because I really am thankful for that. Okay, so getting back to this. 10 Simple Solutions to Adult ADD. What I appreciated about this book also was the fact that there was a great explanation in here about understanding ADD, what it is, what the myths are about ADHD, what causes it, how to manage time, resources, and your personal life and all of that in this one little short book. And what I appreciated was this part in here about what causes ADD. What is it? You know, and basically what ADD is attention deficit disorder. That's ADD. ADHD is attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder. So you have this hyper component to it. And the hyper, again, in children, you'll see it mostly where they're acting out. They act impulsively, take off. They're standing there 1 minute, they're gone the next. Tearing stuff up or whatever it is the child is doing. That's how it mostly shows up in children. But then there's another form of hyperactivity, and that's the hyperactivity is strictly in the brain. It's something where you don't necessarily see the person acting and doing things, but it's like energy or whatever that's going on. A lot of stuff that's going on all at the same time in the brain. And let me tell you, that's very frustrating. I think I rather would have had the other kind where you just run around. But mine mostly is that kind, and it's quite special. So basically, the book brings out that that it is important to talk about what causes ADD and ADHD. And I'm checking my time again. And like I said, I don't know how many parts this is going to be because I got a lot to cover. So why is it important to talk about the cause? And it says if you understand that ADD is a biological disorder, you will hopefully feel less guilt or self-blame about your ADD or your ADHD. And it's not caused by poor morals or or lack of self-control. Bad parenting doesn't cause ADD, although unfortunately parents that have children that suffer from ADD and ADHD do get blamed for the symptoms that show up in the kids when they start to act out. And unfortunately, it's a shame when that happens because it's not always a matter of whooping the child or beating the child. or putting them on punishment or whatever. It's not always a matter of that, you know. So it is a biological disorder, just like diabetes is a biological disorder. Fibromyalgia, it you know, it it's a disease, plain and simple. And uh, it also, this book also brings out that this the ADHD, ADD is highly genetic. So chances are, if you are an individual who has ADD or ADHD, or have a loved one in your family that has the disease, there's a very good chance that there are other members in the family or in the extended family that have it as well. Uh, I can say for myself personally that on both sides of my family, there are mental illnesses. And unfortunately, on my mom's side of the family, as far as I know, it's myself and one other cousin that have actually been diagnosed as having ADHD. And I could tell by some of the behaviors that I've seen on both sides of the family that uh, myself and my cousin are not the only one. There's some more specialness that's going on and that has gone on both sides. Whether they want to admit it or not, it's going on both sides. And I'm just going to leave it at that. So, uh, it it being genetic means that it is passed through the genes from your parents. So, if, for instance, I have ADHD, according to the book, it says there's a 50% chance that my parents could have it. One of my parents could have it. Um, as far as I know, they don't. To be honest, uh, both of my parents never really exhibited uh, ADHD or ADD symptoms. I don't know if they were considered hyper as children. I don't know, because they both grew up in a time where, when you were raised black, if you did anything out of line, you got the stuffing beat out of you, and that was pretty much, you didn't get a diagnosis. You got a beat down. You got the beat down of your life. You were looking for body parts. That's what you got when you were, excuse me for the itch, were black and you allegedly misbehaved back in the day. So if they were or are, I have no clue. But I have to say with all honesty that based on what I have learned about ADD and ADHD, I don't think that they personally had it, but I think that one or both of them carried the gene for it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have got it. So I have a minute left on this. So I'm going to stop right here and I'm going to continue this discussion in part 2 of ADD, ADHD, Inner Diva, Diva like Edwina. I'll see you in a moment.